WABC.
She also lacks the mental and physical stamina to take on ISIS and all of the many adversaries we face.
Back on the Bernie and Sid show on 77 WABC. That was Donald Trump about 2 or 3 weeks ago, sounding very prescient, Sid.
He was actually nice about the Hillary, which he should be. I mean,
he was. He was very classy, very presidential. Didn't comment on it until asked this morning. Right. Just let it, let it be out there.
I don't know if he was presidential, but he was certainly human.
Speaking of classy, presidential, and human,
yes.
On the line with us right now, Sid.
Oh. Yes.
Is my former congressman. He's a Long Island congressman. He's kept this country safe for a long time. He was the former head of the Homeland Security Committee in the House. Congressman Peter King, good morning, sir.
Bernie, how you doing? How you doing, Sid?
Hey, buddy. And it's funny, just telling Bernard, my wife, Danielle, my beautiful wife, moved back to New York just about a month and a half ago, starts a new job today in your neck there, Garden City. She's working on Long Island. How about that?
In Long Island, and that's the real rich people in Garden City. That's not Long Beach and Seaford, like
no.
Bernie and I, you know.
It's not. Roslyn is right there. It's a very nice part of town, right?
Absolutely. You're kidding me.
She's not going to be with the basket full of deplorables.
No, and by the way, I don't know how she's going to be seen with Sid, though, in the neighborhood.
That's true.
I'm not going anywhere near there. Trust me. I stay in Brooklyn.
That is the spectrum right there. Sid and his wife. Congressman King, what a pleasure to have you. Thank you for coming on. Listen.
Welcome.
The big news yesterday, of course, let's get right to Hillary Clinton's health problems. She looked like, as I said earlier, like Lindsay Lohan leaving the club at about 4 o'clock in the morning, and it's a serious thing. It's no joke. What do you know about it, and what do you think about the lack of transparency from that campaign?
Yeah, a few things. This is almost like a Forrest Gump moment for me. I happened to be there. I didn't see her go down, but I spoke to her earlier. I was down there. There was a line, like they had a lineup of all the political people who were there yesterday and people from 9/11. So I was about 20 feet away from Hillary. I was with Chris Christie and Giuliani and Donald Trump, and then she was over with de Blasio and Schumer and Gillibrand. Yeah. And I spoke to her. She seemed a little tired, but again, I didn't really read too much into that. But anyway, somewhere about 9:30, we saw she was leaving, and there seemed to be some confusion over there. But that always happens when you have the Secret Service contingent and everything. And then somewhere a few minutes later, Donald Trump said to me, "Hey, I heard Hillary might be ill." But again, it was just said in passing, no big deal. I had to leave the about 9:45, right after the bells tolled for the Pentagon being attacked. I had to go over to an interview on Fox, and I was walking out. A high-ranking police official I know said to me, "God, it was." That was something with Hillary Clinton. He said, she fainted. They had actually pushed her into the van. I said, what? He said, yeah. He said, and so then I go about 10 more feet, and there were 2 patrolmen I know. And they come over to me and said, we just saw Hillary Clinton. She was out. Either she would fainted or was fainting. They had to hold her up, and he said they actually almost had to throw her into the van, and she lost her shoe. And I said, wow, this is... But then I get down, and to Fox, all the reporters were, and very few people knew about it. And the story was coming out. The Clinton people were denying it. They said she stumbled getting off the curb. But I'm saying to myself, well, 3 cops who are not political, who have nothing to gain, they told me she had passed out. And so there's a lot of issues here. One is, first of all, I hope she gets better. I hope there's nothing to it. But you do have an obligation to let the American people know if you do have an issue. And why did they cover it up that way? First of all, she didn't stumble. She had fainted. People can faint. Acknowledge it. Say you did it.
Right.
The fact that they're hiding it. Then why did she go to Chelsea's apartment? I would have thought the Secret Service at any given moment, when you have a presidential candidate, you have to know where the closest trauma center is, the closest hospital.
That's a great point.
So in case anything happens, they take you there. And like I was just reading, somebody did an oral history on about Air Force One on September 11th, and how the Secret Service basically commandeered it, and they, for about 8 or 9 hours, overruled President Bush because under the law, they thought there was a credible threat, and they were not going to return to Washington. If you have somebody who, for all I know, she had a stroke, she had a heart attack, it could have been anything, I would think that, whether it's police security or Secret Service, that the normal protocol is to rush somebody to the closest hospital, which I guess would have been Bellevue in this case. But suppose when she was in Chelsea's apartment, something serious had happened.
Right.
Those guys might be out of work.
Oh, I would think that she probably, they knew that she had pneumonia. She probably said, nah, just take me to my daughter's house. I'm sure there was a doctor in Chelsea's apartment as soon as she got there. I mean, I don't know all those particulars. You're right, though. It does seem odd she didn't go straight to the hospital. I'll ask you this, though, Peter. I did see on television that long line you were talking about, and I want to say between all the political people you talked about, maybe there was about 10 to 12 people that separated Donald Trump from Hillary Clinton on this line. And watching it at home, I kept thinking, at some point, are they going to walk over towards each other, or somebody on this day, which is all about civility and love for the country, would they put aside their differences for the 9/11 folks and actually talk and be civil? Was there any discussion about that yesterday?
No, there was. I went over to Hillary and to Schumer and to Mayor de Blasio. I mean, I would have differences of different types of each of the three. But no, I just thought on September 11th it was important to do it. But again, I don't know what the others were thinking. Again, I don't know if it was discussed. I don't know if it was going to happen later on. I don't know if they were planning it. Now, I do know, give him credit, Andrew Cuomo was over talking to Donald Trump for quite a while. I would say a good 15, 20 minutes.
Wow.
So, listen, Hillary Clinton has had an awful week, starting with, first of all, a week and a half, the email revelations, the coughing fits, the Matt Lauer, atrocious performance on board the Intrepid. And then she made these comments last Friday. Take a listen.
You could put half of Trump supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables. The racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic, you name it.
Now, listen, that is just that is a despicable comment she made there. She did backtrack, but Peter King, you are now a Trump supporter. What do you think of those comments?
Absolutely disgraceful. First of all, Donald Trump has a 19% lead among U.S. military. Are they the homophobes and xenophobes and the racists and the bigots? Well, who is she talking about? That is so arrogant. That is arrogant elitism at its best. It was a Barbra Streisand event. I'm sure all those so-called liberals and progressives, who looked down on everyone else, they relished all it. No, it's indefensible. It's wrong. And also, there haven't been in politics quite a while. I would tell you, you never attack your opponent unless you think you're in trouble. And she must have gotten bad poll numbers, or she's gotten bad results. Because to go after Donald Trump that way, creating an issue like that, you do that if you're desperate. And generally, if I'm in a campaign, which I think is going well, I'll say, hey, my opponent's a nice guy.
Right.
He's doing well. I'm taking it seriously. And you do that. And that's just now. If it comes down to the wire and you think you're really in trouble, then you start making whatever charges you think you have to. But you don't give your opponent that credibility. So I think it was arrogance, but it was also a bit of a panic attack coming in there.
I agree with you. She was staying away. People like, no press conferences, because she doesn't have to. She was kicking his ass all over the country. But now he certainly has tightened the race, and I think there was some panic setting in, and that was part of the reason why she did what she did. Hey, listen, yesterday down in Lower Manhattan, they were both there. I thought for the most part the news channels did a good job, though, of not making it about them until she got sick, and more about this country and what this state and city went through back on that day. Just give Bernard and I, the listeners, just a quick summary of what it was like yesterday down in Lower Manhattan.
It was extremely moving. When I walked in there, like a whole rush of memories just come flooding back, really. Mainly, it was seeing the families who you've come to know and live with over the last 15 years, but to see them back there at the World Trade Center, at the seat of so much destruction, and you realize what those families have gone through and continue to go through after 15 years. Every death, every tragedy is absolutely horrible, but this was so unique because it was the whole world saw it, and every year it's reenacted, it's replayed, it's there, and you're sort of torn. Obviously, it's important that we always remember it, and I try to go to all these commemorations. At the same time, that forces the families to relive it, and I think they're torn too. They obviously don't want this to be forgotten, but at the same time, it's hard to come to terms and come to peace. But also to see the beauty of the memorial there. I remember being there with President Bush several days later, seeing the devastation. To me, it shows the spirit of America. That may have been our most horrific moment, but it was also really our finest hour. It showed that we're just not going to take any crap from these terrorists. We will stand and fight. and that real Americans realize that, and we're never going to back down.
And final question, Congressman King on Bernie and Sid here. Kudos again to a lot of the players in the NFL who bucked the NFL's orders and wore those patriotic 9/11 commemorative cleats. But still, on 9/11, you had a lot of players take a knee on 9/11, and I know you're not happy with that. Give us your thoughts, please.
Absolutely disgraceful, and I tell you, I almost feel like not going to NFL games. I wish Roger Goodell would go after those guys as much as he went after Tom Brady. I mean, this to be.
Well, but by the way, he won't do that. He's on record a couple of days ago, Peter, on television saying, "I love the fact my players are out there, pretty much showing the country how they feel, good, bad, or indifferent."
Right. By the way, suppose they were talking for the Ku Klux Klan or the American Nazi Party.
Right.
The fact is, they are saying that cops are killers. The cops are out killing people. If Roger Goodell wants that to be an important issue in the country, then let him go out and say it. And let him say that to the cops that are patrolling and safeguarding every stadium in this country.
That's right. They're perpetuating a falsehood, which, by the way, is leading to an increase in murder rates in these inner cities because of the Ferguson effect. They're perpetuating that, these people, and Roger Goodell is enabling it, and it is a disgusting disgrace. Congressman Peter King, I'm being told that we are out of time.
With all that said, by the way, I'm a hypocrite because I bashed Roger Goodell, can't stand him, bashed the NFL, and I watched every single play of the Giants and Cowboys yesterday.
Well, you are a hypocrite. We've known that for years.
Well said. Well said, Congressman King. Listen, thank you so much for coming on this day after 9/11.
Thank you,
and
Peter.
Thank you for everything else. Congressman King, I'm Bernie and Sid. Dr. Sanjay Gupta is coming up after this.